Hello there, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is ChitChad and welcome back to another episode of Planet Coaster where we are working on the Super Mario Super Theme Park, wahoo! And today we're going to be working on the Bowser's Kingdom area of the park, a highly suggested area to be added to the park. And I could not agree more, especially after playing Mario Odyssey. I love that game. And I've talked about this on a previous episode, and my buddy Jacob and I were playing it on the channel, and we had so many awesome episodes, but for whatever reason, the recording went absolutely nuts, and we lost so much footage from that. Like, we didn't lose the footage per se, but the footage was incredibly wonky. It like had added frames and drop frames and all sorts of weird things. It was, I'm still trying to figure out if I can salvage it or not, but I hope to play it again on the channel at some point because that game is so good. And I actually, I really like the Bowser's Kingdom. I thought it was very cool to add that Japanese, you know, style and kind of the heritage to what the character is really and mythology and what he's kind of based off of. So I thought it was cool that they leaned into that more for Mario Odyssey. Plus, you know, with the whole world theme, I think it really fit pretty darn well with what they were going for. I'm trying to think what other levels, like besides New Donk City. New Donk City was probably my personal favorite. I really like, it's not the underwater level, it's the beach level. I really like that, but that's probably because Mario Sunshine was my favorite Mario game. I think I've heard from some people that Mario Sunshine was actually their least favorite. I was just like looking up, you know, top Mario games from some point, and I remember, I don't know why I've got this thought in my head that some people didn't like Sunshine, because I genuinely love that game so much. I've actually gone back and played it almost, not every year, but maybe every other year when I'm feeling nostalgic, I'll play. Like, I've got my platformers that I go back to a lot. I go back to Banjo and Kazooie, and I'll beat that all the way through. I will go back to Banjo and Tooie, but I give up so often. And it's not because the game isn't good, it's just not, for me, it's not as great as the first Banjo and Kazooie. Like, I know the first Banjo and Kazooie like the back of my hand almost. I say that now, but if I ever play it again, I'll probably prove that completely wrong, especially when I get to, what is it, Click Clock Wood, which is one of the later levels that gets really confusing. You change the time of year, and that affects the level overall. And I could even get that name. If I got, you know what, I'm gonna take that back. I rescind my comment of knowing Banjo and Kazooie like the back of my hand, because that's probably not true, but I do really love that game. Banjo and Tooie is also really great. But I get to like the final tower and I kind of give up. Like, I get so enamored with that game, and I always have to get the dragon form of Kazooie, because I remember getting that as a kid and absolutely losing my mind. Like, oh my gosh, Kazooie can turn into a freaking dragon, what? So I'll revisit that game. I revisit Mega Man X, the original Mega Man X, frequently, and I got the Mega Man X collection, just the first volume of the collection, because honestly, the second volume, those games, like, what was it, Mega Man 5 through like 7 or 8, it was 8, I don't even remember what the last one there is in that. I just, honestly, after Mega Man like X3, I stopped playing, and I didn't pick up the Mega Man franchise again until the Zero games came out on the Game Boy. I think it was like the Game Boy Advance, I think. So there's a couple games that I'll like revisit, and Sonic, of course. I play Sonic 2 a lot. Like, honestly, Sonic Mania is probably gonna take over that position of replaying, just because Sonic Mania is so stinking good. I kind of wanted to replay it on the channel when the new DLC came out for Sonic Mania, because playing as Mighty and Ray is actually really fun. I love playing as Ray. Like, he's kind of broken with his flying mechanic. It's really awesome. And then Mighty's just cool. I think I've talked about it, but the animations that they did for the Sonic Mania Adventures miniseries is so stinking good. Like, if you like animation, go check those out. They are really, really well done. I love watching those. Very cool. It's that type of thing that, like, when I watch it, I'm like, oh, I need to go animate something. But then I realize that I take forever to animate anything. It's the problem when you got a full-time job. What can I say? That's always going to be my excuse. But I've talked about this before. I am moving soon. In fact, I'm trying to record a bunch of episodes right now so that I have content to put out on at least one of my channels during the moving process, because there might be a little mini break while I get things set up at the new place, but it's going to be really cool. Like, it's going to open up a lot of awesome possibilities for doing creative stuff here on the YouTube platform. And on the topic of Nintendo games, because I read recently, and depending on when this episode comes out, because I've been recording a lot tonight, but a while ago, Nintendo announced that they're dropping kind of their chokehold on YouTube on creating Nintendo-based content on YouTube. Originally, they had their own platform, not their own platform, but kind of their own system that you had to work with. And your channel had to be large enough and fit certain criteria to even be allowed into their program. But if you're like me and you're a small fry, anytime you upload Nintendo, or more often than not, when you upload Nintendo-themed videos, they will not be able to be monetized, which is really, I mean, it's unfortunate just because for me personally, I do not gain any money from having these channels. I put more money into them than I gain, so it's not like a big deal. But when some of your more watched videos is Mario related content, it was kind of a bummer. Not for this channel specifically, but on one of my previous channels that I worked on with my friends, we did a series of Super Mario 3D World, and they were some of my more watched episodes, but Nintendo would always claim copyright ID on them. And I've talked about this before. I don't mind when that happens, because honestly, it's their intellectual property. They're allowed to do with it what they want, and if they don't want it to be monetized, or they want to monetize it for their own, that's completely within their right. But what I always get bugged out about is when that monetization restricts the viewing of said video. For example, I've done some covers in the past of like Nightmare Before Christmas or Gaston, and I want to do more covers in the future. That's something that I'm pushing forward on my main channel, is I'm going to do a lot more, you know, voice acting and voice challenge videos, just because that's something that I have a lot of fun with and I want to develop my skills. And it's a nice like way to kind of unwind for me. I've always loved doing voices, even if they're like bad or they're silly. I don't really care. I just like doing them. But I want to do more of that stuff in the future, and it is kind of a bummer when it gets demonetized, not because I'm losing money on it, because again, I'm not making money off YouTube in any way for the most part, but it restricts the viewing, so a lot of people don't get to watch those videos, which is a bummer, because that's what I care about more. Like, I just want people to be able to watch it. You know, if they want to monetize it, again, they can do that, but just let people watch it. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. So Nintendo is dropping that program, so people who are making Nintendo content hopefully won't have as difficult of a time. And I don't think Nintendo restricts the viewing when they monetize. At least I don't know if they do. I don't think they do anyways, but I could be wrong about that. But they're going to be dropping it soon. But I always think it's really cool when big developers are supportive of, you know, like the little guys. I always think of the kind of the Cinderella tale of Rooster Teeth. If you don't know Rooster Teeth, they're a huge company now, but they started from such humble, small beginnings of doing Machinima, some of the earliest Machinima with their Red vs. Blue series, which was built or created entirely inside of Halo. And I remember just being so enamored by that idea. I thought it was so cool, because as a kid, I used my grandparents' VHS recorder. Oh, showing my age. But when I was a kid, I was using my grandparents' VHS recorder, and I pointed it at my screen while I played Star Fox 64, because I was so like, I was just so engrossed by that game, because they had like, I thought the characters were interesting. I love the fact that it was like the first game I ever played that had voice acting in it, like full on voice acting, regardless of the quality of it, you know, because it was coming out of an N64, but I thought it was so cool. And there was like a story behind these characters, you know, there was an actual like arc, and I like, this is kind of like a movie. I want to record it so I can watch it later. And then I see, you know, I'm in, I think, oh gosh, early, like maybe I had to have been, was I a freshman? I had to have been a freshman, or maybe even like 8th grade or something like that when I first saw Red vs. Blue. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing ever. They're using a video game to like make a show. That is so stinking cool. I want to do that. So we made our own series inside of Halo, because we didn't know how else to do it, because that was the only game we'd ever seen it be done, you know. And of course that's not the case. Plenty of people were doing it in all sorts of different games. It was just depending on how creative you are, but we were trying to, you know, do our own thing. And of course we were doing it in Halo because we were inspired by, you know, Red vs. Blue. And it's actually kind of funny because eventually I took those ideas that we did in Halo and I animated them as 2D characters in Flash, utilizing the same kind of storyline because it was about the Spartans fighting the elites, because we were doing it in Halo 2, because that was when Halo 2 came out. You could play as the elites, which I loved because I always play as the elites because I thought they were wicked cool. Like the Arbiter is my guy. Like Arbiter is so cool. I will play as the Arbiter any chance I get. Like when I got to his missions, I was like, heck yeah. I was way more involved in his storyline than I was the Master Chief, just because I thought his story was more interesting. Even though I did read the novels and eventually I gained more of affiliation with Master Chief. Like I liked his character a little bit more, but you kind of had to read some of the novels in order to get his character, because he's kind of a blank slate for the most part. But like I was saying, I took that idea and I did it as a 2D animation, and it's kind of funny because I've talked about my characters Benny and Francis, and Benny and Francis, there was another character named Gil, and those characters came from the Halo project that we were working on. Like that was their original creation of those characters. Like Benny and Francis and Gil were elites, you know? So eventually I obviously turned them into their own characters, and now they're a completely different thing now. But that was the original incarnation of those characters, was doing a Machinima, which we only did a couple episodes just for fun. I think we may have posted like one way back in the day, but it's probably long gone by now. But it was a lot of fun, and that was kind of the first time I did like a big group project with my friends where we did something sort of creative and in animation sense. We did short films and stuff like that all the time, but this was like the first time we did something that was in the world of, you know, machinima, animation, that sort of thing. And it was really fun. I always like doing those collaborative projects. And I'm hoping to do some with my friends some more in the future. And depending on when this episode's released, maybe we've done something by then. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking. But I'm always trying to work on new projects and new things, which again is why I'm so excited to move, because that's going to open up the doors for so many awesome things. And we're going to have a new recording space, and it's going to be like couch-based gaming, and it's going to be like an open room. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait. I'm so freaking excited. And speaking of being excited, I'm excited for how this area is turning out. This has been really fun. I love the new pieces that came with the World's Fair pack. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, because like I said, I have been sick the past few days, so I'm going to take a drink of water. Hold on one moment. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if it's gonna work. I think I am reaching the end of my vocal capacity. It's very unfortunate being sick. I hate it. Such a waste of time being sick. I'm hoping to get over this soon, but I'm excited to work on this area. Like I said, this new pack that we got from Planet Coaster is really stinking cool. And in the next episode, we're going to be building something really fun. One of my favorite characters from the Mario universe, and a character that I like to play as a lot in Smash Brothers. Speaking of Smash Brothers, I cannot wait for the new game to come out. Oh! I love that the Piranha Plant's a character. That is so freaking funny. Oh, when I saw that, I was in tears. I was laughing so hard. I was like, yes, this is absolutely perfect. I can't even be mad at this, because he doesn't even technically count as a DLC character, because they've got 5 other ones coming out, which I heard, going back to the topic of Banjo-Kazooie, I heard that some of the data mining that went on from when Smash was leaked inappropriately early, which I didn't want to know any spoilers about, but I heard something that one of the things they found was rare IPs in the game files. And if that's the case, that means Nintendo and Rare have been in talks. And if that's the case, maybe one of the most long-time requested character to be, well, characters plural, to be in Smash Brothers, that of course being Banjo-Kazooie, might actually happen. That's probably beyond wishful thinking, but who knows? Like, if this is going to be the ultimate Smash Brothers, I'm not gonna put anything, out the window just yet, because honestly, I never ever thought we would get Cloud in a Smash Brothers game. I remember being a kid and dreaming of Sonic, my all-time favorite video game character at the time, being in that game. And I remember there was a article in like a gaming magazine, and it turned out to be an April Fool's joke where they made it look like Sonic wasn't unlockable in like Melee or something, and I was so incredible. I think that was, I never been so disappointed as a kid. I thought that would have been the coolest thing ever. And then of course now Sonic's in it. So you know, like anything is possible with these Smash Brothers games. So if like they've been talking with Microsoft, they've been talking with Rare, there's really no reason why Banjo-Kazooie couldn't be in Smash Brothers. If Microsoft's willing to play ball, it's not like they're using those freaking characters for anything. Like honestly, and I have Xbox. I love my Xbox One, but Rare is so wasted over at Microsoft, like absolutely wasted. There's so much talent from that studio, and it's just not being utilized, and it's so upsetting. Because Rare, man, Rare back in the day, they were the only, like, I played Jet Force Gemini, I played, of course, Banjo-Kazooie, I played Perfect Dark. Like, they just knew what they were doing. Of course, Donkey Kong Country, I think they also did Donkey Kong 64, didn't they? Which was like a collectathon of collectathons. Like, it will burn you. If that's not the thing you're into, that game will burn you out, but I still played it. The only reason why I didn't get to finish it was because somehow, some way, I lost that expansion pack. If you don't know, back in the day, you had to have an expansion pack to play Donkey Kong 64, because that game was just that freaking extreme for the N64. Oh, good times. But we're actually coming to the end of today's episode, so thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you like this content, feel free to check out the other episodes on this channel. I'm doing Hollow Knight, been playing Bendy and the Ink Machine, of course, Jurassic World Evolution, so if you have some time, feel free to check those out. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will chat with you on the next episode.